If you've ever felt pain or discomfort or aching in your wrists during a plank, a push-up, or a downward facing dog, this video is for you. Let's dive into the reasons why this happens and how you can avoid it. I see a lot of people struggle with this as a teacher in my classes, and I've struggled with wrist pain myself during workouts or yoga practices. So if you're one of the people that struggles with this video is a must watch. Stay until the end because I will be showing you 3 key exercises that I practice in every class. If you've ever been to one of my classes, you know I teach these all the time. I will be demonstrating 3 drills that are really going to boost your wrist health and create that strength and mobility so that you don't ever feel pain again in your practice. First up, let's talk about wrist strength and mobility. A lot of our wrist pain comes from weak or tight muscles in the wrists and forearms. When your wrists aren't strong enough to support your body weight, when the muscles are too tight, they struggle to keep up in weight-bearing exercises like planks or chaturanga. This is why wrist mobility exercises and strength work are so important. Another reason why you might be struggling or having pain is because of poor alignment. Poor form or misaligned wrists can create excess pressure on the joints. For example, in yoga, if your wrists are too far forward or back in poses like planks, all that weight shifts into your wrists, and if you don't have good wrist mobility, it can be really uncomfortable. So you might not want to have your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Maybe you need to walk them forward. So make sure to check your form. Wrists under shoulders or ahead, fingers spread wide, and weight evenly distributed are the best. Then we have another biggie, which is repetitive stress. If you're doing a lot of weight-bearing exercises, think push-ups, handstands, arm balances, a bunch of yoga flows with lots of chaturangas, you're putting constant pressure on your wrists without enough time to rest. Over time, this can lead to inflammation or even more serious injuries like tendonitis. So take it slow and give your wrists a break when they need it. The more you work on strengthening them and mobilizing them, the less they will suffer from this repetitive stress. But again, just like any part of your body, you need rest. Then we have the biggest one, I find, the most overlooked one, and even the most simple one. And this is just a lack of warm-up. A lot of the times, teachers will just go into the flow and not really prep your wrists. And for me, this has really changed over the last few months where I've really started to integrate consistent wrist warm-up in every single one of my classes. And I've had many students come up to me after class and tell me how they love the wrist warm-up and how it helped them because they have had injuries before and they can feel a difference just even within one class. So you wouldn't jump into a workout without warming up your muscles. So don't skip warming up your wrists. Doing a few wrists mobility drills before your session can make a huge difference in how your wrists handles your workout. And we also have things like hyperextension and overloading. So if you feel like you're sinking into your wrists in poses like down dog, that's likely hyperextension. So for my hypermobile yogis out there, just be mindful when you're doing these poses and focus on strengthening your wrists. Having the mobility, the range of motion isn't a big deal. That's great. Use it, but you have to strengthen it at those ranges to take the pressure off the wrists and be able to load it safely. And then, of course, wrist pain can sometimes be a sign of an underlying condition like carpal tunnel syndrome or arthritis. So if you're dealing with pain that won't go away or feels more serious, it's always a good idea to get checked out by a professional. All right, to recap, how do we prevent wrist pain from happening? Here are my key tips. Strengthen and mobilize your wrists regularly. Simple routines like wrist cars, stretches can do wonders. Focus on alignment in weight-bearing poses, wrists under shoulders or even ahead of your shoulders if you don't have the wrist mobility yet. Spread your fingers wide and distribute your weight as evenly as you can. Third, gradually build up your wrist strength. Don't rush into advanced exercises until you're ready. Use props like blocks or wrist supports if you need to reduce the extra pressure. Those are my tips and the main reasons why you might be experiencing pain during your workouts or yoga practice and how you can prevent it. Now stay tuned for your drills. Starting with our wrist cars on a block. Grab a block and rest your forearm comfortably on the block with the palm facing upward. Make a tight fist and then secure the forearm with the other hand, leaving your wrist free to move. Begin with controlled articular rotations, also called cars. Rotate your wrist slowly in one direction for 5 circles, and then switch directions and complete 5 circles the other way. Repeat this on the other wrist. Remember, the key here is to move with control. Slow is good. For a second move, come into all fours, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Turn your fingers back towards your knees and press your fingertips firmly in the floor. You can move back and forth a few times to find a bit of a stretch in the forearm or even bend your elbows. Hold for a second and then gently hold the pressure as you press your fingertips firmly into the mat. We'll hold here for 5 seconds and then release the effort. And then we'll try and lift the fingers off of the mat for 5 seconds and then again release the pressure. We'll do this press, release and lift, release 3 times on each side, or you could do both hands at the same time. When moving your fingers away from the floor, it might just be a little hover or even just slightly less pressure without actually creating space in between the fingers and the mat. This will increase as you gain more range of motion. Now that we're done with this exercise, just pull your hips back so you give your forearms another little stretch and then shake it out before we move on to our last and final drill. So staying on all fours, turn your fingers to face the front of the mat. Keep your palms flat on the mat and then slowly start to raise them, keeping your fingers down. We'll then slowly lower the palms back down towards the mat with control. We'll do this for 10 reps. The key here is to really move slowly. If you have your shoulders over your wrists, you'll increase the load. If you want to decrease the load, you can move your shoulders away from your wrists. The slower you go, the harder it will be and the greater the burn you'll feel, which is actually what we're looking for here. Tiring those muscles out so that they get strong. And that's it, we're done. You can shake it out one last time and just repeat this routine before any workout, yoga session, or even daily, just to keep your wrists strong and mobile. Consistency is key for injury prevention and long-term wrist health. If you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to leave a comment, ask me any of your questions or any other videos you'd like me to make, and also support my channel by subscribing or liking this video, or even better, share it with someone that needs to see it. And with that, I will catch you next time.